I'm part of the queer community.
Many times the people who are arguing against us, well, I've never met a trans person. And 99.9% of the time, most people I have.
The research is so important because we already know of the health disparities and whatnot that come out of the queer community or the LGBTQ community. In some ways, I'm proof of that.
Yeah.
Of growing up in an environment that was not supportive and issues that I've faced as an adult.
Right.
Hey, we are real people. We're your neighbors, we're your daughters, we're your brothers, we're your sisters, we're your cousins, we're your aunts, uncles.
They have been beaten down so much, and we've only just begun to tap into what we can learn from this community.
Just the language itself has always been deeply coded in heteronormativity and making assumptions about who I am, which have then made it really hard for me and created barriers in me wanting to be open about my personal life with my healthcare providers.
Trans people just deal with chronic pain because they don't want to have to go to the hospital. The healthcare community has not always looked at the trans community in a positive light. They're just trying to get drugs, they're just trying to get pain pills or anything like that. So most trans people, if they're in some serious pain, they just ignore it or push through it or will just not deal with medical facilities at all.
And so, of course, I think it's really important for our voices to be heard and our experiences to be measured. I think it's fantastic where we are because, before looking at the queer community was just as a mental illness, and that's what research kind of focused on, not looking at how can we help this community and how can we help help them thrive. And
it has traditionally centered marginalized communities in all of the wrong ways, in all of the tokenizing ways. You have a lot of stigma around research, and so and trust issues. So it's just vitally important that we are focusing on populations and uplifting them in ways where we are seen, held, supported, and encouraged to participate in research in healthy, respectful ways so that we can grow and learn. We're not doing our due diligence in research if we're not fully encompassing all communities and really uplifting the most marginalized among us.
So working with the trans community in research, it lets people know that we are here and it's that we're not myths or we're not these invisible creatures that most people who are against us think that we are. It can put a face to reality.
There's all these different genres or whatnot of research that we can tap into, and the data that comes from it is so interesting. And so I'm super interested in research for the LGBTQ community, the queer community.
I wish that people had the bare minimum knowledge about our community and approaching our community, and just a smidge of humility on top of that. How to refer to us, speak about us, and speak to us, understanding pronouns. We end up having to do so much of the work to catch folks up to speed with their flyers, with their language, and letting them know that some of the things that they've written are actually not best practices.
Don't ask about unnecessary questions that is not related to the care of the patient.
Showing that you're supportive and putting in that effort goes so far. Making sure that they know that we're on the same side.
With your research, whatever you're doing, go into it with an open mind. Some trans people want surgery. Some people do not want surgery. They just want to medically transition. And what I will say is fix your face. What I mean by that is don't let your patient know that, okay, you're thinking something weird is going on. They get this look on their face. And I'm like, oh, judgmental.
I think my biggest tip for researchers, folks in science, folks in academia, is that our community, we are experts in ourselves. You can only ever be an expert in your own lived experience. And so until folks can level with individuals on the fact that we do know ourselves, we do know our bodies, and have conversations at that level with us, we are not truly going to grow and be able to effectively do research.
You've got to make the most of life while you got it, because we're not here long enough.